it's not to sit up here and say that the whole, like I said, just because you in a denomination, I'm not saying the whole thing is bad. I'm not saying like there's no truth at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the problem is Satan mixes in lies with truth. All right, that's the problem. So, being raised Seventh-day Adventist, I never was really claimed to be in a religion. I always was like, I don't believe in religion, and I didn't fully understand why. I just knew it was like religion, man-made and stuff, but that was supposed to have a relationship with the Lord. And so I would be questioning stuff. I'm like, why I'm in church and we still celebrate pagan holidays? Why don't nobody preach about who we are? Why don't nobody preach about who those fake JWSs are? Why don't nobody sit up here talk about the Freemasonry stuff and how America was founded on that, and how it's literally the adoption of Egyptian worship, Babylonian worship, and all this stuff? Why don't nobody talk about this? Because people think this is Christian nation and all this stuff. Why don't nobody talk about the Kabbalah? Why don't nobody talk about the secret societies? Like, why doesn't anybody talk about the government be, they will always hire people and stuff, the COINTELPRO and all that, to take out our leaders? Why are we not talking about the fact that the world is ran by like Satanists and people like that? Why we sitting up here believing that this picture of Jesus is who it is when he literally is not this gay white man that's in this picture? Why are we not talking about like Genesis 6 and how it says sons of God slept with the daughters of men, but they say that that's not saying that that's the fallen angels slept with men and created the Nephilim or whatever. And it's like, that's just an offspring, that the giants were just Adam and Eve from their lineage. And it's like, if that's the case, why did God tell David and them when they were fighting, and people in the Bible, in the Old Testament, why did he keep telling them to kill them? Like, if they knew that was just, that's just Adam and Eve, they just from the lineage of Adam and Eve, they just tall people, why did they kill them then? Why was they out here being told to kill them? And why was there Goliath's brother had 6 fingers, 6 toes. I'm like, how is that just natural? He's just like, oh, it's just from the lineage of Adam and Eve. They were just tall. Like, that doesn't make sense. And also what don't make sense is the fact that with the book of, there's so many books in Apocrypha. I won't sit up here and say that they're all, they should be taken like totally, fully seriously, but they do have a lot of like historical information that helps you understand things in the Bible and gives you a little bit more understanding, and talks about how like the fallen angels taught the women how to wear makeup, and taught the people how to make swords and mix spliced DNA and all these different things, which is what's happening now with the CRISPR, I think, with the stuff they're doing with the DNA, and they're just how should I say, making everybody gay, basically. They are trying to just make everybody gay. They are with this whole, transitioning things. So, yeah, bro. And I was just like, why we don't talk about that stuff? Like, teaching the women how to wear makeup, and that is literally, a lot of the time it's used to seduce men, but not to sit here and say every woman that wears makeup is using it to seduce men. Some women just do it because they like makeup. But then there's other women that are, whether they know it or not, are under the influence of Jezebel and are being used to wear, be dressing like whore, wearing all this makeup and stuff, and it seduces men. And also, the dudes who claim to be girls now and live as if they're women, they be wearing that stuff too. So it's also a tactic to make people think, well, to have men be deceived of like, is this a woman or a man? Like, I don't know. And all type of foolishness. I'm like, why would we talk about that? And so many things. That's what I'll be questioning. I'm like, but the crux of it is, why are we not talking about who we are in the Bible? Why are we sitting up here talking about, oh, those people over there in Israel, those are who God's people is, and we just need to keep sending them money, and we're all just Gentiles, praise God that he died, sent his son to die for us all, so we all could get in on it. The people over there's blessings and salvation, and Jesus is this white man in that picture, and just believe in him and you'll be saved, and da da da. It's like, that's what they be believing, and I'm like, bro, that is not true. It's literally not true. Like, why are we not talking about history? Why are we not talking about history, bro? It's always, it's not, like I said, it's not sit here and say everything is wrong, but the mixture of lies and truth is a problem. It's like, all we be talking about is like, Ellen White, Saturday's the Sabbath, we're the remnant church, Babylon, Pope, and the Catholic Church, and prophecy. Like, literally, that's it. Everything else I mentioned, I have not heard nothing about it. And I'm like, how do we not talk about the most important thing of the Bible being about a people who are scattered and don't know who they are? And God is coming back, and he's going to gather Israel, which is us, so-called black people. And forgive my moving around, my back kind of hurt. But he's going to gather us, and then he's going to come down here and judge the nations for what they did to his people. He's going to sit up here and come to have a valid decision, and then he's going to sit up here and plead with the people, with the nations, for what they did to us, and for them to let us go, because we're his people. But they don't talk about that. And also, another thing, why are we not talking about the fact that, why we don't preach about the Old Testament, last few books of the Old Testament? Like, let's see, Ezekiel, Hosea, Joel. Now, sometimes, I think my accent be doing that. Alright, hold on. Sometimes my accent, I realize I not have an accent. Like, why say accent? Sometimes my words just slur. Alright. Like, why we don't talk about Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Chuck. Wait a minute. What comes after Obadiah? I ain't gonna act like I know gonna start with a J. Jonah. Well, Jonah don't count as in pertaining to talking about who you are. But Obadiah. Let me just read a verse. It says, the destruction of Edom. And Edom is Rome. Edom is those fake JWS over there. Okay. You can go research all that for yourself. Alright. Verse 3, chapter 1, Obadiah. The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high. You know where they dwell? In the clefts of the rock. Alright. Dwell in the mountains. Caucasus Mountains. Anyways. Verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set... Wait a minute. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle. What are on so many of the European flags? Especially our flag over here. Alright. And though thou set thy nest among the stars. What do the flags be having on them? Oh. Because he's talking about European nations, bro. Thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. If these come to thee as robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Go down to verse 10. Why Edom will be destroyed? For thy violence against thy brother Jacob. Shame shall come over thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. What? Oh, God told I think her name Rebecca. What am I back hurting? I think her name Rebecca. Yeah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Wait a minute. I'm trying to remember the man, Isaiah's wife named Rebecca, right? If I'm wrong, forgive me. Alright, but he told her she gonna have two nations in her womb. Which is Esau and Jacob. Esau is now Edom. Edom is Rome. Edom is those fake JEWS, and Jacob is Israel, which is us. Okay, alright. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. He said, why you sit up here and let them do this to your brother? Slavery. Next, verse 12. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen, as thou hast done. It shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon their own head, upon thine own head. You think they read this book and know that, bro? You think they want us? You think they read the white scholars, these people who control history, these people who sit up here, run the world, who don't look like my color? You think they sat up here, spread this, and said, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. And they said, I'm going to let everybody know what this means. I'm going to let everybody know the truth of this book. No, they sat up here, came up with religion, came up with all these denominations, came up with all this foolishness, came up with ways to interpret the Bible. So you don't know that it's going to be judgment for what Edom did to Jacob. What the European nations and all the people did to Israel, which is, I'll just say black people, because everybody know what that means. But yeah, if they didn't want us to know that, because then us knowing this would have sped up the judgment, bro. If, like God said, if my people who are called by my name humble themselves before me, I forgot the rest of it, but he said he will heal their land. So that's the thing. They didn't want us to know this, because if we did, we would be crying out to the Lord for what has been happening to us since, I don't even know, so long. Since 70 AD, really. Maybe even before that. But 400 years of slavery, bro, which was 400 years was in 2019. I don't know why my phone started recording when I said that. Hilarious. But we know what happened in 2019, alright? 2020 and all that. But yes, so, for as ye have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. You think they ain't know that, bro? They read all that and said, nah, we gotta sit up here and make this book be about something that it is not. Alright. Let's just leave with that one. But, yes. So, we have Joel chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days, in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations, and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations, and parted my land. Look up how we are treated in all the world, bro. And they have cast lots for my people, and gave a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Like I said, sex was slavery. Alright, they was out there sleeping with all boys, girls, all that. Killing women who had, slicing women's stomach open, crushing their heads, the babies' little heads. They were doing all types of stuff, bro. And they have, yeah, I read that. And yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Verse 6, the children of also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Who was sold? Oh, I wonder who was sold. Who was talked about? Who's always talked about being sold? Oh, I wonder. What's always the debate about whoever was sold? Oh, anyways. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off, for the Lord hath spoken it. Alright, that's that. So yeah, just think about it. So, anywho, back to Deuteronomy. Let's get through this. Verse 33, Deuteronomy 28. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite unto thee in the knees and in the legs with a... Wait a minute, I already read that. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto it. Wait, I already read that. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Yeah, we definitely became an astonishment and a proverb and a byword among all the nations, because everyone wanted to use us for slavery to build their nations. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and shall gather but little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them. But, wait a minute. Let me go back to verse 36. He said, The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. Christianity and stone is what? Islam, Buddha or whatever? Yeah, bro. Don't know who we are. We supposed to be serving Yah, bro. We are Hebrew. We're Hebrews. Women Hebrews, men Hebrew. We're supposed to be serving God, bro. But we sat up here and don't know who we are, which is why we serving other gods, wood and stone. Alright. Anywho, thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but now thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. Thou shalt, verse 40, thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coasts, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine oil shall cast his fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. Let's just let that marinate for a few seconds, bro. If you don't know who you are yet, I don't know what to tell you. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. What happened to us? What happened when people had kids? What was they was up there having the women have kids just so they could become slaves, bro, and be sold to other people and buyers. And like I said, those fake JWSs who converted to Judaism, they literally, like I said, provided the ships. I think it was like over 70% of them owned slaves around the world, or it was in America, one of them. And let's see. I'm trying to remember my other point, but I forget my point. But when they would be selling slaves and stuff, they would close the auctions when it would be like a Jewish holiday or something. They would do that. And you can look it up, bro. You think I'm lying or whatever. You just literally look it up. I would say don't be using Google, because Google gonna lie to you. Go like DuckDuckGo, and you're gonna have to go to like scroll all the way down, look at more search results, scroll all the way down, probably look at more search results, and it's stuff gonna pop up. But DuckDuckGo has more stuff than Google. because Google just be lying about everything, usually. But anyway, verse 42, verse 42, all thy trees and fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. The stranger in thy land? Yeah. You tell me slavery isn't about them being high up because they have us as the slaves and us being down very low? Okay. Verse 44, he shall lend to thee. I promise I could read, bro. But I'll tell you, when you read the Bible, it make you feel like you don't know what you're doing. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenedest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Alright, my bad. I had to go to the bathroom. But, what's the last verse I just read? Alright, verse 48, Deuteronomy 28. They getting taught today. Alright. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness. Alright, slavery, hello. And in want of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. A yoke of iron, bro. Come on now, bro. You know what they were doing to us. You know what they were doing to us. They literally have pictures of yokes of iron and stuff being around our neck, of a line of us just walking. And even if it ain't even about that, even if you don't think it's about that, the fact of the matter, it was still a yoke, because they had us in bondage. Simple. How for 400 years, bro? Building nations, because we kept wanting to. God told us to do this. We said no, we don't want to do that, and then it kept going, passing our kids through the fire, worshiping all these gods, not getting rid of the high places, worshiping God, the Queen of Heaven, participating in orgies like they were doing back then, sodomy, and they had sodomites by the temple of the Lord, like all this stuff. And God kept forgiving us, and we kept doing it. So yeah. And so until he has destroyed thee. Verse 49, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, from far. Bro. Oh my gosh. This book is literally about us. Dang. If we literally sit up here and know this book is about us, you know what we would be doing? We turn to God and say, Lord, I'm sorry for the weed, the alcohol, the ratchet so-called music, the sleeping around, having baby mamas and baby daddies, aborting the kids, eating whatever we want to eat. All these things, we repent of that, following other gods, wood and stone. We turn to him and say, Lord, I'm sorry. You're our God. You're our Father. Please heal us. Please save us. God will sit here. Bam! Everybody getting judged. Come on now, bro. We wouldn't be in poverty. We wouldn't be in the slums. We wouldn't be in the ghetto. We wouldn't be killing each other. We wouldn't be doing this stuff. And they push this music that sits up here, push all these ideologies, which is their way. That's not our way. To be drinking, smoking, having, fornicating, sacrificing our babies to Moloch, which is what they do. And that's what you're doing when you do that. And you think, oh, well, it's nothing. It's just tissue. And you program to think like this because it's so-called music and TV watching, reality hip-hop whores and all this stuff that they're pushing onto us. And they put these people in positions because they know who we are. And they want us to live a certain way. And we don't know who we are. So we attach to anything. And we're out here dying because of it. And we're sick because of it. And we're losing our minds because of it. And we gotta get back to y'all, bro. To the Lord, literally. So, look at this. What verse I'm on? He said, verse 49, the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young. Like I said, what were they doing to everybody of all ages? Treating them worse than cattle. Like, bro, can you imagine seeing your dad or your brother or your uncle, y'all all slaves, and then to humiliate him and give you no hope, he gets R-A-P-E-D, I don't want to say word, but he gets that in front of everyone, and he's nothing he could do about it, and it happens to him in front of everyone. And that's what they were doing. Anyways, bro, let's see here. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thine kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest, thou throughout all thy land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee in the siege, and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So that the man that is tender among you, and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave. Alright, let's see here. Alright, let's keep reading. I'm almost done. The tender, not keep itching. Hope I didn't get bit. So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he have nothing left him in the siege, and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. And that's what happened. I think what that man's name is? Not Isaiah. Bro, what's that man's name? start with E. Man, the one, not Jehu, but Elijah. Yeah, Elijah and Elisha. I forget which is which, but that's what happened with, I think Elijah. I can't remember which one is which. I usually get confused with both of them because their names sound so similar. But when Elijah got caught up into heaven, then Elijah was, given his mantle. And then sometime later on, the place, or someplace, I don't know if that is about us, because I haven't studied it, or if it was about another people that were heathens. But regardless, I know they were up in there eating each other. And she was like, this woman said, we'll eat my son today, and then tomorrow we'll eat her son. But she's hit her son. And we ate my son. And yes, I was like, I don't know if that's talking about us. But whatever the case, yeah, so if I got that wrong, don't hold that against me, okay? The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set... Uh-oh. Dang, it's already 8:08. I was supposed to be on my car. Well. Alright, I'll keep reading. Skip down to verse... Well, I might as well do that. Verse 56, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege, and straightness wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Yeah, a lot of our women, I don't say all, but a lot of our women think it's okay to, kill our babies, bro. They see abortion as a form of birth control. And it's not to judge you, but it's just to give awareness on it. Like, when you do that, you are sacrificing your child to Moloch, bro. Literally. He's the god of child sacrifice. And you are cursed. Like, if stuff start falling apart for you, or crazy stuff start happening after you did that, now you know why. And you need to repent and turn from doing that. And most of the abortions are committed by us. And we're the least people here. Percentage of people here. So it's like, we gotta stop listening to this so-called music, because that stuff literally is garbage. And it literally programs you to fornicate. And you don't want the baby, because usually you just wanted to have fun when you were fornicating, and then the responsibility comes and you just go abort it. So, it's like I said, her eye will be evil toward her husband of her bosom, her son, and her daughter, and toward the young one that cometh from between her feet. Let's see here. See if there's anything else I want to read. It says, and verse 62, and ye shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. Verse 63, let's see if I'm going to read that. Verse 64, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people. from the one end of the earth even unto the other. That's us. Look up how we are treated in all the world, bro. South America, Europe, let's see, France. I know that's in Europe. I'm just saying countries. Colombia. Places like that. Just look up places, bro. Look up how the Negro is treated, so-called black person is treated. Scattered among all people from one end of the earth even unto the other, and thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone, because we don't know who we are, okay? And among these nations shall thou find no ease. Why we always be having issues, bro? It's one thing after another. What was it? Slavery. I can't remember all the stuff verbatim, but slavery. You had civil rights movement. You had the Willie Lynch letter came out and all this. I forgot what the other thing's called. But you had so many things, bro. So many things. No ease. Alright, redlining. White supremacy, but yeah, white supremacy, I'll just say that. All these things. And people want to sit here and say you're racist for talking about the truth. I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't have power to sit up here and mess up somebody's life and keep them from progressing or digressing in life. So, you're wrong, and don't be mad at me. I'm just a messenger of the book, bro. Don't be mad at me. Truth is truth. But, verse 65, and among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shalt the sole of thy foot have rest. But the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. You tell me that's not us. we always be stressing, literally, worrying about our life, sorrow of mind. If a cop come behind us, man, you already know. If you're a black person, you already know. If you're a white person, I don't know how y'all feel. You're probably just like, I wonder what I did. Black woman or black man? I can't even say what it is for a black man, because they have a different struggle. Black woman though, me, I'm not black woman, but you know what I'm saying. I'll be seeing them, they pull up behind me, my heart started racing. I'm like, okay, what did I do? Am I finna get killed today? Am I finna be like another headline that of all these other black people have been killed and forgot about? Am I finna be another hashtag? That's stuff we have to sit up here and think about. Verse 66, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shall have none assurance of thy life. That is us, bro. Hang in doubt, literally. In the morning thou shalt say, would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, would God it were morning. Yeah, that was what was happening in slavery, because we would be working like dogs. They would have them working like dogs from morning to even, and they would like have them working to the bone, and then they would be in there, taking advantage of them and all this stuff. And is he saying you're going to be saying, well, God, it were evening in the morning, and then when it's even, you're going to say, well, God, it were morning, because you're always going to be going through stuff. And that's what was happening to us in slavery and all that. For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring, this is the last verse. I don't hear nothing about, oh, that's not about y'all. Let's hear, sister. Apply this book to history. Look up who people is, Edom, Tyre, all them people. And do your research, please, for crying out loud, because the truth is out there. You just gotta look it up. Last verse, 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. I'll wait. I shall wait. Who was brought in ships? I wondered who's brought by ships. Wow, that's such a hard question, isn't it? The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. And America is modern day Egypt, bro. Babylon. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Alright, argue with your mom. Thou shalt see no more again. You're not going to see where the slaves didn't see where they were from ever again. They did not see where they were from ever again. We were brought over here, and that's all we know. We don't know where we were from, but they know. And he said, there you shall be sold unto your enemies. And we are enemies with Edom. Jacob and Esau are a long battle of just conflict. Israel versus true Israel, us, versus Edom, which is the so-called JEWS over there. So we were sold unto them because they were the ones who were really controlling the slave trade. Because they knew who we are. They know who we are. And they hate us because God loves us, and God hates them because they worship Satan. Anyways, sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. No man bought us to get us out of slavery, bro. No man bought us. No man freed us. No man ever came and said, I got you. I'm gonna get you, and y'all not finna be slaves no more. No, we were slaves until 400 years. But we are still slaves mentally because we don't know who we are and because we stuck on reality TV and this so-called music and the people they put in positions and all this stuff, bro. But yeah, so that is my history lesson for the day. I will drop, like I said, the videos and the links to the sites and stuff so you can learn and do your own research. Truth is out there. And yeah, man, get unbrainwashed from religion, literally, because that is going to be the downfall of many people, because they're going to be following man-made rules and laws and traditions, and they're not going to be following God and what God says and the truth about the Bible. They just believing something that's not true. So yeah, I hope you learned a lot of things, and man, if you came this far, put I made it in the comments. I doubt anybody came this far, but I won't say that though. I won't curse myself to say that. I will say people will come this far. All right, but yeah, just black man, black woman, so-called black man, black woman, get back to who you are, bro. This is who you are. This is your culture. This is your history. This is everything about you is in here. And also, watch Hidden Colors. They not gonna sit up here talk about the fake JWS because they are the ones, I'm pretty sure, that funded the production of that show. But still, you need to watch those because that tells you about the Moors, tells you about a lot about our history. And there was something else I was gonna say, look up. Watch Hidden Colors. Read the Bible from a Hebrew perspective, not them Hebrew Israelites that's on this corner that are following a belief that's founded by Masons. Alright, we don't claim them people. Alright, I said that already. Watch Hidden Colors. Go watch Pastor Stephen Darby. He have a lot of good information about who we are. He has a video called Who We Are. Go watch that. And yeah, just do your research and watch Hidden Colors for sure. Look up about the Moors and who they were, and the kings and queens of the world before they whitewashed everything. And yeah, don't get into this African spiritualism and all this stuff because that is the reason why we were cursed in the first place. Because we weren't supposed to be doing that stuff. That's demonic, voodoo, witchcraft stuff. Other people in Africa be doing that. But we are not African. We are Negroes. Okay? We are not, we're from Africa, but you can't sit up here and say you don't know where we're at. So that's why you need to look up research. But yeah, we weren't doing that stuff, witchcraft and stuff that a lot of them do over there. So don't get into that stuff that's come out now with those spiritualism and all this stuff, and all this is just sage and ancestor stuff. Bro, you're talking to demons, bro. Like, no, don't do that. You're gonna be in bondage, okay? There's plenty of people who are from Africa who will tell you don't get into that stuff because they know what it's about. So yeah, that's that for this video. I hope it helps you, and thank you for watching. And yeah, take care and take your soul and salvation seriously. Don't rely on man for what you need when it comes to your soul and salvation. Rely on God and God alone. And study your word and read it from front to back. Don't sit up here listening to people starting the New Testament. The Old Testament don't matter, whatever. Read it from front to back and ask God to give you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And read it every day, because every day and night, and it's going to help you understand who the Bible is talking about, who God is talking about. And it's going to debunk all these lies that people be saying is going to happen in the last days. Like, oh, we're going to go to heaven, and oh, the Bible is about Christians, and just stuff like that. The Bible is about people. It's not to sit up here and say, if you believe in God, that you're not going to be saved because you're not Hebrew. No. It's to say the Bible is about a people, Hebrew, and the Bible is about them and God's covenant with them, and everyone else is grafted in. Alright? Now, don't sit up here and get on your high horse, because if you don't believe by faith, like the book of Hebrews be saying, you still going to be lost. It's just for identity purposes, okay? For you to know who you are and know who your God is, and know God loves you, okay? You're not a thug, you're not a whore, a thought, you're not baby mama, baby daddy, you're not what these titles people put on us. You're not just some you know, lowly person that doesn't matter. You're not just some black person. Like you're God's chosen. You're God's chosen people, bro. So study to show yourself approved, like the Bible say. Right? All right. On that note, I'm out of here, bro. I'll see you guys soon, and thank you for watching. Take care.